Welcome back, everybody, to the Breakdown Podcast YouTube channel. My name is Corey, and in this video, we are going to be discussing the 11th episode from Superman and Lois. Vic, let's break this down.
All right. So in this episode of Superman and Lois, it has the longest name ever, a brief reminiscence in between cataclysmic events. Say that 5 times fast.
That's the name of the episode?
A brief reminiscence in between cataclysmic events is the name of the episode.
Why would you name it that?
I mean, it literally gives you an exact description of
the plot of the episode?
Yeah, the plot of the episode, basically. So, in this week's episode, we kind of start out with this, it's a flashback. So we know that we're having the flashback episode that every show has. It gives you a little bit of exposition into the life and the story of the main characters and gives us a chance to meet them kind of for the first time, even though we've been hanging out with them for 10 episodes at this point. But what we don't know is Superman and Lois's history in this universe. So we know their story, we know their backgrounds. We know they exist in this continuity because of Crisis, but we really don't know what happened to them to put them at this point, because prior to Crisis, it was a completely different existence for them.
Right.
So during these flashbacks, we get to see him before he meets Lois. He kind of is in Metropolis. He ends up doing they do the really silly Superman down the alley where he exposes his S and he goes and saves the day and ends up saving a kid.
You know what?
From an out of control Kia.
I'm gonna tell you this. I felt like there was a lot of stuff in this beginning montage, so to speak, that were ripped right from Superman the movie and from the comics.
And it was very much an homage to almost every one of those things, because they did them in a very comic book-esque way. So basically, like I said, you saw him do the Superman reveal with the S under his shirt. He goes and saves the kid from the rampaging Kia. And after he does, he's like, "Hey, that's a cool outfit." He's like, "Yeah, my mom made it," and he flies off. Like, really, dude?
I thought that was funny.
It did kind of look like it was a stitched together onesie of some sort, though.
It looked like he was auditioning for Kick-Ass.
Right. So he ends up flying back to the phone booth.
Wait.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you got the phone. Yeah,
I'm going to the phone booth. So he ends up flying back to the phone booth, and they show him do the quick change in the phone booth, which I thought was that's very, very original Superman story-esque type of situation. So, and then a lady comes by, and she's like, "Did you see it? Did you see what happened?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "That guy, he saved that kid from getting smashed by that car, blah, blah, blah." He's like, he was so fast. He's like, I don't know if she said it was like a bird or plane or whatever, but I think, I believe she said something like that. And like, so, they kind of get towards that, the Superman kind of tagline thing. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. So, like,
but wasn't the cover of that first Superman issue, didn't that have a green car in it that he was picking up?
I don't remember. Superman's original issues, it's very possible. But, and I can imagine, like, especially since they did so much to kind of encapsulate a lot of the traditional stuff from the old Superman to tie him. You need to stop. You're making this hard on everyone. This is your fault. You're doing this. Stop it. What was I just saying?
Talking about how it was taken from the comics and stuff.
Especially since they worked so hard to take so many little elements from the comic books, from the original movies, and they kind of tied it into that history for him. So he's going back through, and we get to see a flashback of him, realizing, oh, this Superman thing could be good for me. I'm going to go to the Daily Planet and apply there because I could really make something happen there. Then he goes back to, we get a little bit of flash forward into him starting his career there. And then we get a little more of a flash forward into him getting into working for Lois. And then a little more of a flash forward of him, kind of helping Lois become the the ace reporter that she becomes because of
Well,
all of the
hold
Superman
on.
stuff that's going on.
I do want to point out too. I think a lot of the stuff that was being said in the beginning before he got the job, um, stuff that was the conversation between he and Lois, and then he and um, the editor or whoever the hiring guy was.
Right.
Um, those are similar, I think, from Superman the movie. Same dialogue.
Oh,
If
really?
it's not the same, it's really close.
Oh,
because
like the part where she's like, "Who told you to wear a tie?" He's like, "He did." He's like, "Yeah, don't listen to him."
well, there was one, I forget what the line was now, but she asked him something or said something, and I said the line before Clark did. So I think it's the same dialogue that they lifted from Superman the movie.
But you know what? I think I'm okay with it. Like, I think
No, I don't
it's
have
a
a problem
great
with
way
it.
to kind of bring it all together and kind of tie it in and make everyone and like really kind of show that this is the new continuity for Superman, that it is still that original story, just
Yeah,
told
don't
in a
get me
different
wrong.
time.
I don't have a problem with. Normally, I'd be like, "That's just stupid. Why don't you come up with your own dialogue?" But here's the thing: it's more of, you know, uh, this is Superman has built up this continuity. I think in a lot of people's heads, whether it be just from the comics, whether it be just from the previous movies, or from both, and that is a little bit of that continuity. So they're just kind of bringing some of that in there, and it's a bit of an homage to that too, because some people
Right.
aren't going to even recognize it because you admittedly, I mean, you didn't know,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure, I'm about 75% sure it's the same dialogue.
Well,
So
I know that like a lot of people, a lot of the younger generation below us are going to look at it who haven't seen, who may not have
mm,
seen those movies, wouldn't recognize that as a thing. So I feel like it is an Easter egg for our generation to kind of be like,
mhm.
hey, look, we're still the original Superman, even though it's this younger look to it, the younger feel to it. But so yeah, so they go through the process. We get to see Lois trying to take on this um this racist guy, and his name is Adam Man. And it is an actual hero villain from the comic books, and basically he's a Nazi guy that was experimented on.
I can't
um
say the N word. You can't say the R word on YouTube.
oh, you can't.
No,
So
I mean we
anyway.
should try. Honestly, we should try it and avoid that.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so he's a supremacist, and I didn't say
I'm
what
not even
kind.
sure that's allowed
You
either.
can, nope, I didn't make any kind of reference as to what kind of supremacist, but he's a supremacist, and he doesn't like the fact that people have taken over his neighborhood, and he's trying to clear them out. And the outfit that he has on is pretty comic book accurate. The metal helmet. At first, when they were talking about it, they're like, "Oh, it's a guy in a trench coat with a metal mask," and I was like, are they really pulling the Psycho Pirate into this too? Because like the description she gave, like off the top, was
Yeah.
like, that's weird. Like, why would they do that? But then they showed who it was. I was like, oh, okay, this makes a whole lot more sense now. It's not a metal mask; it's actually a metal helmet. But he's got a like an iron helmet on, and he's got a flamethrower, and he's got this the SS symbol on his chest. And he's talking about how these people are not going to take over my neighborhood, and he's trying to burn them all to death.
They
Superman
couldn't have
shows up.
picked a different. They couldn't have picked a different villain. I mean, seriously.
I
I mean,
mean,
in all honesty,
but
in
that's
today's
exact
political
what you were
climate, I
about to
saw it and just
say.
rolled my eyes.
What you were about to say, and the reason why you're rolling your eyes is exactly why they use that villain. It's timely,
Yeah,
to say
I
the
know.
least. So
It's
yeah, we won't dwell on it too much. But Superman comes in, he's shooting his flamethrower. Superman ice breath uses his ice breath. I don't know. I
he
can't get it
breathes
out.
on him. He
He
takes
uses
some winter mint
his
gum.
winter mint breath and freezes the flamethrower. And Adam Man's like, oh, okay, that didn't work. So here's 4 hand grenades or 2 hand grenades, and he throws them in 2 different directions. So this is my problem. I got to nitpick some stuff because there are very good things about this show, but there are some very stupid inconsistencies. He throws 2 grenades, and he's like, you can't save them all, Superman. Actually, he doesn't
Yes.
have the name Superman yet. But he's like, you can't save them all, so he throws the grenades in 2 different directions. And the one is going towards some people. He shoots it with his eye beams, and it
Mm-hmm.
barely explodes.
It crumbles up like it's just
He
dust.
flies over and grabs the other one and crushes it as it explodes, and it sends him flying through a building. Like,
Yeah.
they are both grenades. If you superheat a grenade, it still explodes the same way a grenade would explode.
Yeah.
It doesn't just disintegrate. So, and then the other one, like, blew him through a wall. I'm like, okay, so this is not consistent. Like, this is the kind of inconsistency that I catch right away. Because I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, like, whatsoever. Like, that just took me out of the whole thing. Like, if he had done something to, like, stop it from going off or something, or like, you know, I don't know. I don't know what he could have done, but it's just weird.
When I saw it, I just thought that maybe that first one was a fake grenade or something, and Superman figured it out. It didn't make any sense to me, like why one would explode and the other one wouldn't.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, if you have to generate a reason as to why the one didn't do what the other one did when they're both the same thing, that's the part that takes me out of it. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But while all this is going on, as Superman is saving the day, Lois has a stun gun, and she puts it on the dude's mask and stun guns him. And I'm like, that's classic Lois. Like, that's the kind of stuff Lois does. Like, she's the damsel in distress kind of archetype for Superman. Like, he's the one that he always needs to go save. But then when he's not looking, she's saving herself. And
she's the one that chases you.
Yeah, it was a great little nod to how like feisty Lois always is, and that she doesn't really always need Superman to save her, but she's like, all right, cool. There's a little interview where she's talking about she's with her production assistant, and they're doing an interview, and she's like, he's in love with you, right? She's like, I'm not in love with him. He's like, I'm in love with somebody else. She's like, I love Clark. And of course, Superman's sitting there and they're having this whole conversation. I thought it was great when she looks at him and she's like, do you think he has super hearing?
Yeah.
Like, he's got super breath, he's got super vision, he's got super speed, he can fly, he's got super strength. Do you not think he has super hearing? I'm pretty sure he heard what's going on. But I also thought that was cool. Like, the fact that she's in love with the regular guy instead of the superhero also is another classic Lois. So I really did like that about it too. So then when she finds out that he's Superman, I guess, you're like, okay, whatever. One thing that I did notice, they did show them going through the process of like them having their relationship, them getting married, them having, her getting pregnant. Did you notice the ultrasound of the boys when they did the ultrasound? So in the ultrasound, they show the two boys and they're kind of like turned head to head, and where you would normally see like the heartbeat, there's two glowing orbs. So I'm looking at that going, okay, so both of them have it. Like, in my mind, like, that was them subtly showing us that both of them have something special inside them, because it wasn't just like a light spot. It looked like it was glowing in there.
No, but I did notice a couple other things.
What was that?
I did notice that, first of all, they skipped the whole part where she had a kid that she lost.
Yes, they did. Yep.
I also noticed that they had the kids on Earth and not on whatever that other planet was. But if you remember the Crisis.
That's part of the change of the Crisis continuity. That's what this was all about.
Which means they didn't conceive while he was powerless, like what we thought in Crisis. So that means she somehow survived.
Oh my Lord, that's where you're going.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yes.
Look,
I don't have to say.
Look, I've been a long proponent of the fact that her father is a genius when it comes to creating specialized Kryptonian weaponry and deterrent. So I'm pretty sure he probably created a kryptonite condom for him, and that's how they
kill him.
Did it. Huh?
That would kill him.
It weakens him. It doesn't have to kill him. It doesn't have to
Well,
kill
he
him.
wouldn't be able to perform.
Maybe he took like a kryptonite pill that lowers his
I think he
ability.
took some. He took some Blue Chew.
Exactly. uh, while all this is going on, Superman is witnessing these shadow people kind of popping in and out of his memories, and he realizes there's something wrong. And when the last one happens, he's like, "Hold on, this isn't real." And we get to see you if you notice carefully, if you watch carefully. There's a point where he's talking to Lois, and Lois is still talking to him when he turns and walks away. She's still having the conversation with him
Mm-hmm.
during the ultrasound, and he saw that shadow, and he turns out of the reality and realizes this isn't real. Like I'm not. This isn't like me dreaming. Like this isn't a dream. This is something that's real, and that's where he realizes something's up, and he ends up taking off this mind melding machine that Talro has put on him in order to invade his memories and see his secrets, and he then knows that Superman is Clark Kent, and that Clark Kent and which I still don't understand. Please explain to me how a fellow Kryptonian can't tell that he's Superman, that Clark Kent is Superman on top of it. Like there's got to be something that explains how this no one notices this, not even another Kryptonian. It makes no sense. Like you've been around this guy 500 times and you couldn't tell that he was Superman? Come on.
I guess they're just feeding into the joke that you can't tell because he's wearing glasses that he's the same person.
It's just craziness. It's craziness.
It's so dumb, and it's as a person who's worn glasses since I was like in the second grade. It's stupid, and I'm offended, and I'm going to pursue.
Well, somehow Talro has managed to follow him to his Fortress of Solitude, and he actually he puts this the mind meld headset on him and gets into his dreams, like I said, and he figures out all of his secrets, and he decides he's going to use them against him. He's like, if you don't do what I want, if you don't take the bend the knee to me, I'm going to destroy your family, and I'm going to tell everyone who you are and who they are, and your family will never be safe again. I'm like, fine, do it. I don't care. Like, you know how many superheroes are out there that people know who they are? Do it. I don't care. I'd be like, whatever, dude. I'll put it out in the paper today. Clark Kent is Superman. I am Iron Man. Just I am Iron Man it. Like just own it. Like completely own it and be done with it. But he beats the crap out of Superman because Superman's still suffering from the power drain, I'm assuming. And he basically barely puts up a fight, and he gets beat down, and Talro flies off, and he attacks. He goes after Lois and the boys. And he's like, here's the deal. He's like, I'm going to let you watch your children die. And I'm like, okay. I really thought for a second there that Jordan was going to like jump in and like take him out a little bit, but he got waylaid.
No, he didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, he couldn't handle it. He brought too much heat. And he's like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your family, blah, blah, blah. And just before this, commences, Superman flies in with his ailing Superman landing, and he's like, I what do they call it? I acquiesce. I give up. Like, I'll pledge my allegiance to you. Just leave my family alone. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. See, I mentioned before we started recording that I didn't see it going this route.
Yeah.
And you seemed like you were surprised, like you knew that was going that route. I didn't really think it would go this route.
I didn't see it taking this turn per se, but once it happened, I was like, well, that explains it. Like that's really the moment that I had. It wasn't that I was like, that's weird. But when it happened, I was like, this explains everything. And here comes John Henry. Like, that was my first thought when he did it. I was like, well, because after he pledges his allegiance, Talro basically kidnaps him and takes him back to his Fortress of Solitude, which we were like, I don't know what this place is. Are they in, like, Mesa, Arizona? But apparently that's his Fortress of Solitude is in the desert because Superman's is in the Arctic. So he
Sure.
takes him there, and we get to see a little bit of history again of Tal Ro, the fact that his father is an absolute monster. And he's the reason why Tal Ro is the way he is, because he bred him to be horrible. But if you notice, there's a couple times in there where Zeta Ro gets mad at him because he keeps showing his humanity. He keeps talking about wanting more Kryptons, more Kryptonians, wanting a family, yada yada. And Zeta Ro apparently considers that to be ultimate weakness. Like, you need to purge that from you. You can't have that weakness, and that's why he's the way he is. So they get Kal-El, and they basically put him into the what the hell?
It's the mind meld.
Not
I
the
call
mind
it the
meld. No,
mind meld.
it's the Eradicator. They use the Eradicator because they put it inside.
Oh, the
that
Eradicator
wall.
3000.
Yeah, they put it inside the
That's
wall,
the
and then they just stuck him under it, and they were torturing him basically with light, because that's painful apparently.
Yeah.
So while they were torturing him, he then comes out of it mad as hell with red eyes, ready to attack, and that's where we cut to Lois making a desperate phone call to John Henry Irons. John Henry, I think it's happening. Superman's turned.
Yeah.
And
See,
scene.
here's the thing. There's no way that Superman thought that, you know what, I'll just play along, I'll fight through it, and I'll end up, taking him down from the quote-unquote inside.
Right.
I don't think he thought that. I think he was legitimately doing it just to protect them, which, okay, I say that and that makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense. It's like he's just giving up almost.
Yeah. I mean, in
Stick
his
around,
weakened state,
fight.
I think that
It's
if
like
he
stick
wasn't
around, fight, and protect your family as yourself. If you got to call in Flash, if you got to call in who knows who, do it. Instead you're like, okay, I'll do it.
I feel like the idea was, I'll give in, you leave my family alone, let's get out of here so I can ensure they're okay, and then I'll figure it out from there. I don't think he thought that he was going to get brainwashed. Like,
stupid?
Apparently. Apparently.
You think he's just gonna let you stick around without messing with your mind?
Now that you've agreed to be my minion, let's go have some fun. Like, I don't know what he was thinking, but when it comes down to it, at this point now we see where John Henry has come from this entire time. We know that John Henry may have been right, even though we're like, there's no way. But obviously,
yeah, but this is not him from the future version of this Earth. So it's just odd, though, that it happened on multiple Earths.
Yeah. Well, we don't know that he didn't end up coming to their Earth as Tal Ro did. So imagine if he came to Earth, lands in Kansas. My dog is handing me stuff. He lands in Kansas and he gets attacked by the Kents instead of saved by them. Like, if it was completely reversed. Imagine if he got received the same way Tal Ro did.
Right, but what I'm saying is...
that's what I'm saying. On John Henry's Earth, maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's
No, I understand that. But I'm just saying it's odd, though, that the whole takeover has happened on two different Earths now.
Yeah. I mean, it's timey-wimey bullshit. It's the whole thing of, like, multiple Earths and multiple... realities.
Yeah, but things happen different on different Earths.
This happened differently here. Like, we don't know that this is exactly how it happened there. We didn't see any sign of Tal Ro in any of the stuff that we saw with John Henry Irons. So we don't know that that's actually the story behind what happened with his
right.
Superman going bad. But because in his universe, Superman and Lois aren't a thing. So there's definitely big continuity differences between his world and theirs.
He and Lois are married and have a kid,
right. So it gives you a lot of open differences in the continuity to create different storylines. So I don't know. To wrap it up, to me, I thought this was a really good episode. I was very surprised about how it ended up. But like I said, where you were like, I didn't see that coming, I was just like, okay, I get it. I understand it. Like, it makes sense that they did it this way. My question is I think there are 4 episodes left. No, I think there's only 1 episode left.
I don't think. Yeah, I think there's only one or two.
I think there's only 1 episode. I think this is only a 12 episode run.
I think
And
you're right.
if that's the case, this was the penultimate episode. So
Mhm.
they literally have to save Superman, save themselves, defeat Tal-Rho, and figure out a cliffhanger for season 2.
I think if they're smart and there's they've already filmed this, so
Oh yeah.
who's to say? You leave the cliffhanger as you defeat Morgan Edge, whatever his Tal-Rho or whatever his name is. Defeat him, but the cliffhanger is now trying to turn Superman or something, turning him back. There's got to be. That's the
So do you
cliffhanger.
think
It
the end of the
revolves around
season?
that.
Do you think the end of the season will be Superman still being evil Superman, and them basically all coming together to figure out how to stop him for season 2?
Yeah. Maybe he's the bad guy for season 2.
Yeah, I mean that would make for an interesting storyline, especially since at some point they're gonna have to figure out how to explain where Clark's gone to everybody in Smallville, because he just disappears at this point, and they're gonna want to know what happened to him. So
He hasn't been gone that long. And probably nobody's even noticed anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting story. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how they play out next episode.
Yeah,
and see where it goes.
Some of the small details aside, I really enjoyed the episode. And like we said, we have no idea where this is going to go with this week's episode. So it'll be interesting.
This week's
to,
episode's title is "Through the Valley of Death." So you can't glean a whole lot from that, but it's a pretty daunting title.
It is. I don't see any of the main characters dying, though. I mean,
I think the Valley of Death is probably what he calls his Fortress of Solitude.
Maybe because it's in Death Valley.
Maybe that's what I'm saying. Like I think it's going to be something like completely on the nose like that. So Let's see what happens next week.
All right. We do want to thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the show live at 7 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/MillerKing_51. You can check us out. We are talking The Flash and Loki. So come by, join the chat, and have fun. And be sure, while you're here, hit the subscribe button down. Hit the subscribe button down below, and turn on notifications. On behalf of Vic,
that's me.
I'm Corey. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.
See ya.